Greetings to you, subscribers and viewers of my channel. Today, I have prepared interesting material for you. I found new 19th century photographs and no one has analyzed them yet. At least I haven't encountered researchers who have reached these photographs, except for the photographs of St. Petersburg. But at the very least, I will share new information about this with you. I think you will like it. Let's not delay and get started. The photographs that I discovered are mainly dated to the 1840s, 1860s. I don't know how reliable these dates can be because the first daguerreotypes were officially invented in the 1850s. But I stopped believing in official history a long time ago. So, in the photographs, we see a complete absence of people and vegetation, mostly buildings without glass in the windows. Everything clearly looks long abandoned. There is no trash on the streets, no dogs or cats, and no other living beings at all. Not even birds can be seen in the sky. Some try to explain these photographs by the imperfect photography technology of that time. They say that the first cameras had an exposure time of about 10 minutes and could only capture stationary objects. Well, if that's the case, then how do you explain other photographs taken almost at the same time, but which have many people, even horses? How did they get into the frame with such a long exposure? And here is the photo of the inauguration of Abraham Lincoln, 1861, in which thousands of people can be seen, even if the photographs were taken with different cameras. Okay, let's assume these photographs were taken with a camera that had a 10-minute exposure. But there were no stores back then. All the markets were located on the streets, so where are the counters? The trading stalls. Carts waiting for their owners, tied horses eating hay or drinking water, barrels, firewood, coal, laundry on the streets drying on ropes. So the mystery of old photographs lies not only in the fact that there are no people in them, but also in that the cities look completely uninhabited. The chimneys are clearly visible on the houses, but no smoke comes out of them. If somehow they managed to withstand the moving water from the fountain, then they should have been able to withstand smoke as well. Everywhere is dirt, earth, and everything is desolate. Let's compare it to photographs from World War I. The difference is not that significant. After wars, there is a lot of destruction, debris, and waste, but there is one distinction. There are already people here. And in these photographs, we see people who are clearly not locals, but they are already clearly digging through the rubble here. This is the square of a huge city. There should be thousands of people here, but in the photographs, we see 1 or 2 people for the entire city. They can be compared to photographs of modern Pripyat. In many places, there have been swamps for a long time, and look at the trees. Look at their trunks. They are very thin and very small. It's as if they were planted 2 months ago. And look, when the streams of clay move, they wash away everything in their path. Like garbage, so too with animals and people. We see exactly the same picture in old photographs. There is water everywhere, a lot of clay, and there is either no vegetation at all, or it looks like it was just planted. Another interesting feature of 19th century photographs is the observatories. There are quite a few of them. There are deserts everywhere. Nothing is there, but the observatories stand. Was it really necessary to have so many observatories in such a difficult time? Everyone was looking at the stars. Or they were observing something else. It seems nothing unusual, if not for one but. This observatory was located in Strasbourg at the end of the 19th century. Astronomical bodies were observed from this observatory. There is one interesting detail. For those who don't know, Strasbourg was in ruins in 1870. You can look up information about this on the internet. There wasn't a single intact building. At the same time, instead of addressing the humanitarian disaster, an observatory was being built there. Someone apparently could not live despite the stars when devastation reigned around. How could this be? In this photograph, we see several observatories. The photo was taken in the mid-19th century. Signs of a recent cataclysm are very noticeable in the absence of vegetation. Nevertheless, the observatory is in good condition. There are 2 options here. Either it was just built or it was immediately restored after the cataclysm. But the question is different. For what specific purpose did they do this? Why build an observatory in such a difficult time? It seems obvious that the residents of that city were interested in nothing but looking at the stars. And there are many such cases. Where could the catch be? Entire cities were filled with stargazers. I want to show you a very interesting detail using the example of a photo of St. Petersburg. The official history states that this is 1861, but upon careful study of the restoration of St. Petersburg in 1876, one can find, what am I telling you? Let's go to Wikipedia and see that these lanterns were installed in 1876. So, this photo was taken in 1876 or even later when there was already equipment that could photograph people in motion. And why all historians say that this is 1861 is unclear to me, since there are already lanterns here. And now we search the internet for photographs from the 1870s and look at the exposure. Here is an example. Resurrection, Revolutionary Square. Horses, people, everything is captured. The exposure is sufficient for everything. The people may be blurry, but they are present. But here they are not. And immediately two questions arise. What is the actual dating of these photographs, and where did the people go, if there was already a possibility to capture them? Someone might say, well, these photographs were taken with older photographic equipment. I think it's unnecessary to explain to smart people, but still, I will explain for future clever commenters. The Capitol would hardly be photographed with a bad camera. For such things, they call the best artists, operators, directors, and the best cameras. Then someone might say that Wikipedia sometimes makes mistakes, incorrectly writing about certain events. This is an engraving from 1856. No streetlights here. No streetlights. My version is, this is a report on the completed work of excavation and preparation for the settlement of the city. The final preparations are visible. Ships, as we see in this panorama, are bringing materials, food, and possibly furniture. Soon, settlement will begin by former peasants. Of course, there is another version as well. It is possible that there were originally people in the photographs, but they were intentionally retouched, precisely because what could have been depicted in these photos was something we were officially not allowed to see. For example, there were trams without wires, cars, or something like that. They left only a couple of horses with carts for appearance and painted over the rest. But we all understand that such a city could not have been built by those people who still ride horses. The multi-ton columns of St. Isaac's Cathedral still amaze the imagination today. Each column weighs about 110 tons. It is completely unclear how they were delivered here and how they were constructed. The Alexandrian column is about 50 meters tall and weighs over 600 tons. By the way, this column is decorated not with Russian, but with typical Hittite eagles. Where does such symbolism come from? But that's not the most interesting part. Look here. Oh, what is this? This is the all-seeing eye. A pyramid with an eye in the center. Very interesting symbolism, don't you think? But this is already a topic for a separate video. Not far from the Capitol, artifacts can still be found that can rightly be called megalithic. Zarvana, Pavlovsky Park. More than 5 meters in diameter and 2 meters in height. Weight 48 tons. The bath is perfectly carved from a single stone, using a technology unknown to us today. And I can frequently, in fact, list that the people whom official history, as we know it, tells us about simply could not have built all of this.